This is the story of a boy who in his teens started selling sunfish. In his 30s, he sailed with a friend on his Catalina 27. In his 40s, he bought a Hobie 16, which he sailed every year at the beach for a week. Also in his 40s, he bought a Catalina 27, followed by a Morgan Out Island 41. He sailed the Morgan Out Island for more than 16,000 miles until his 60s when he sold it. He then bought a Hobie 21 SE, which kept him happy for a while, but then he bought a Beneteau 50.4, which he started sailing, and he's sailing it by himself. So sailing solo at 70 is me, David Fansler, only now I'm 71. Uh-oh, make that 72. Well, it's June 13th. It's a little after 6 o'clock, and I have left the dock trying on the second attempt to go to Baltimore. The first attempt, as you've read by now, was a teetotal disaster with high winds, and it was ugly. So anyway, I'm currently cruising up or down the river. I'm headed for the only bridge that I have to go under, which is the Cape Fear Memorial Bridge. They do have to open it for me. Bridges in Wilmington use channel 18 rather than channel 13, which is what I'm used to using everywhere else. I have a slight problem with that in that my radio will transmit on 18, but it won't receive on 18. So I can't hear what they're saying to me. It's a busy time of day. I don't know if they'll even open the bridge for me right now. So I'm going to ask them to call me if it's not a good time to open the bridge and I have to wait a while. I'll find somewhere to park until that happens. The tide is supposed to be at slack tide at 7 o'clock, and that should push me all the way down to Southport, where I will drop the anchor and sleep for the night. Wake up in the morning and take on fuel. Once I have taken on fuel, I will head out around Frying Pan Shoals, which is at the mouth of the Cape Fear River. There is a cut that goes through. It's about 100 yards wide. I've been through it before on the last trip and without any problems. And my next port of call will be the hook at Cape Lookout. I want to try to clean the bottom of the boat. It's probably filthy. When I left out last time, I could only get 4 knots out of the boat at max speed. So it probably needs a little cleaning. Everything is in good shape. So that's what's going on at the moment. It's a beautiful day. The wind's blowing about 10 knots in my face, but that's okay. It's blowing from the south, which it's supposed to do for the next few days, which will give me a wonderful following wind to Baltimore. So we will check in with you later. So we made it through the Cape Fear Memorial Bridge with almost not even having to slow down. They have got to be the most amendable bridge to opening for sailboats I have ever seen in my life. Well, it's Wednesday morning, probably 10:30 something, I don't know. I have picked up fuel and am currently headed out into the ocean. Let's see. It's a little breezy. And there's some swells going on. Nothing major. But we'll see more once we get out there. Well, I have aborted the attempt to head out to the ocean today, at least for now. The waves are 4 to 6 feet, very, very close together, only a few seconds, and the bow of the boat was simply plowing into the water, and I was having water run down the entire deck. Not any fun, and this is supposed to be fun. So I have decided to turn around and head back in and find somewhere to just chill out for the rest of the day. And prudence is better than being stupid. So let's see. You can see this boat coming in. Waves are doing to him. It was slowing me down to 2 knots, and that's insane. So, no, not going anywhere today. Well, with a pound of steamed strip in my belly, piece of key lime pie from Provisions Company in South Fork, I am on my way to try it again. I called them up. They've got a few slips there at the restaurant, but my understanding is they didn't have enough draft to handle this boat. So decided that maybe I could pull in just to the tip of the pier and have somebody put the food on the boat for me. But as I tried it out, it had plenty of depth, so I went ahead and parked the boat and went in and ate. And as always, it was good. The wind has calmed down from almost 30 knots down to 13 knots. So I'm hoping that that's going to have an effect on the waves as well, and they will have subsided enough that I can get down past and around Frying Pan Shoals. Don't know that it's going to happen, but we're going to give it a shot. Won't know unless we go. So that's the plan at the moment. As you can see, water has calmed down significantly, barely white capping, so that's a good thing. And hopefully we'll make it out and get this journey officially really underway. When being approached by a large freighter or any commercial ship, there are rules of the road to follow. If you are under sail, then technically you have the right of way. But, as the foreman said to Arthur Dent at the beginning of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Mr. Dent, if I let this bulldozer roll over you, how much damage do you think it would suffer? None at all. So the best thing to do when approaching a freighter is to get the heck out of its way. So, it's all quiet inside the cockpit, relatively speaking, because the motor is off. I am under sail with just the Genoa. It's about probably 90% out. The wind's blowing 21 knots. And we're doing 6 knots. So I can't complain at all. We're doing good out here. Getting to sail. The waves are still 4 to 6 feet, but the period between them is much less than it was, and we're not burying the nose into them. They're not breaking either, which there were just solid white caps when I tried to come out this morning. So waiting was a good thing. Well, it's funny how fast things can change. The course I chose to get down to the cut through Frying Pan Shoals turned out to be too aggressive, and I had to turn away into the wind.
So I had to take the Genoa down. I only had part of it out to start with. And the wind has picked up. It's sustaining around 28 knots and gusting to 34 or so. So we're nose diving every once in a while. It's white rollers out here, but we've only got 7 miles to go to get to the cut, which is about a little less than 2 hours at the speed we're currently doing. So if we can hang on for just a little while, we'll be able to turn almost 180 degrees and put all this stuff behind us and have good sailing. So let's hope that happens. Let's take a look out at the waves. They're probably running closer to 8 feet now. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 seconds between the waves together, which is why we're splashing water over the bow on occasion. So, well, until next time. Yeah.
Well, it's Thursday morning, and we made it through the cut at Frying Pan Shoals last night in the dark through 2 barkers that are probably 100 yards apart that are not illuminated. No, it was quite a feat. I was pleased with the way things handled. Once I turned to the northeast, the conditions changed totally. This is a case where the grass is not greener on the other side of blah blah blah, but this is a case where the weather is different on one side of Frying Pan Shoals than the other. Not really, but it appears that way. Coming down from the Cape Fear River, it was very, very rough. Not as rough as it was earlier in the day when I tried to go out, but it was still a little rough. Once I turned and headed northeast, after going through the cut, it was much smoother. The wind is behind me, the waves are behind me. There's a little bit of wallowing, not much though, and I'm sailing under just a reef Genoa, even though I need to let it all out at this point. As usual, I slept in the cockpit, and it's cool this morning, so that's why I'm under the blanket. But I guess we can come out. So here's the conditions we have. The waves are still running about 6 feet or so, and they're pretty close together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're between 6 and 7 seconds apart. But it's a very comfortable ride compared to what it was. And I'm very, very pleased. It's still 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm ready to wake up. So I am officially on my way to Baltimore. I was going to stop at Cape Lookout in the hook and clean the bottom some. But I forgot my wetsuit, and I don't want it that cold. So the boat seems to be going faster than it was. So I guess a lot of the slime or whatever that was on it's gotten cleaned away. So I'm going to forego that, and right now I'm headed toward the outside point of the Cape Lookout Shoals, and from there I will head to the outside of Cape Hatteras. Cape Hatteras. Once I pass Cape Hatteras, I can actually turn more to the west. And so this trip is firmly underway. I have no doubts we're going to make it all the way to Baltimore this time. I'm going back to sleep.
Well, good Saturday morning to you. I tried to leave yesterday and ended up getting stuck in the bight of Cape Lookout. That was embarrassing. Took them a long time to pull me off, but that's another story. So I stayed the night again at Cape Lookout, and got up this morning at 6, and the weather was conducive to leaving, so by 7 o'clock I was gone. I am sailing down the shoals of Cape Lookout at the moment, doing about 8 knots and 16 knots of wind. The boat is back. It loves this stuff. The deep blue sea, there ain't nothing like it. We are cruising along. As you can see, the seas are not bad, 3 feet maybe. We do have a guy following me. I thought he was catching up with me at one point, but he doesn't seem to be at the moment. Let's see. There he was. Let's see if I can get him still in there. There he is. It's probably a catamaran, and he'll probably kick my butt after a while. But anyway, it's going good. Enjoying this. This is a great sail. Let's shrink this back down. It's a great sail. There is nothing like it. When the weather is conducive like this, the seas are not running very high, and the boat is just perking on along. It's a happy camper, and I am too. So, had to throw away my fish that I caught. I couldn't find any olive oil on the boat. I think we ended up tossing it all out because it was old, and I didn't think about that. And so I got no olive oil on the boat, which really stinks. Let's see. Anyhow, that's about all that's going on right now. I'm 5 miles or so from the end of the Cape Lookout Shoals, where I'll turn about 40 degrees and start heading northeast to clear Cape Hatteras. That's about 75, well, it's down to about 65 miles away at this point. And at the rate I'm going, I'll cover that distance in 8 to 9 hours. So it will still be daylight when I go roaring past if the wind continues to be this way. So all's good here on Dragonfire. And happy Saturday to y'all. I hate to imagine how much it's costing him to go this way. Well, shoot. So the week that I was traveling up to Baltimore, there was a marlin fishing tournament taking place out of Morehead City, North Carolina, called the Big Rock Tournament. And it was late in the day, and it was time for all the sport fisher boats to come in. Now, I'm 30 to 40 miles offshore at this point, and why this guy felt like he had to pass so close to me and the other ones that came through is just a mystery to me. I guess they feel like they're so big that, hey, it doesn't bother them, so the heck with me. Well, it's 2:30 in the morning on Sunday. I guess it's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to me and my sons. The wind quit blowing early this afternoon. I've been motoring along since then. It's just 1200 RPMs. I'm not hardly using any fuel at all to speak of, but I am still moving forward. 3.5 to 4 knots. Eventually the wind started blowing a little bit, so I put the sails back up and was making 5 to 6 knots. And then caught the Gulf Stream and was doing 8 knots just before I reached Cape Hatteras. Now I've just now reached Cape Hatteras, and I am in the process of rounding Cape Hatteras and heading almost due north to Baltimore. Cape Hatteras, of course, is known as the graveyard of the Atlantic. Not tonight. It is a very calm, still night, and I don't think it's good. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's not going to claim anybody. I'm going to take that back. Appease Neptune. So, in any case, rounding Cape Lookout. So that's 75 miles from Cape Lookout. I'm not sure. In any case, I'll have to look it up. I plotted it out, but I don't remember. I can see some traces, small traces of rain out there. Nothing nearby me. Another sailboat has been tracking along beside of me, Sea Tiger, and not very congenial people, I must say. They didn't respond to any of my radio hails, just to talk, nor did they respond to my radio hails when a large ship was headed toward them. The ship answered me and said, yeah, we see them. Yeah, we're going to miss them by a little over a mile. But they're quiet people. They're headed to the inside of the outside marker on Cape Hatteras. I guess they think they know what they're doing, so I don't question whether they think they know what they're doing or not. In any case, the journey continues on. I am still proceeding northward, and that's a wonderful thing. Finally get to let Jeff and Anne Marie, the rest of the family, see Dragonfly. So I think I'm gonna go back to sleep now. So good night, everybody. Welcome to Sunday again, Father's Day. The wind, as I pointed out earlier, quit blowing almost 24 hours ago, and I've been motoring that long. I've been motoring at a slow speed, only about 1200 RPMs, which gives me about 3.5 knots of boat speed, which isn't a lot, but it's better than sitting still, and it's very, very fuel efficient. Sometime during the night I switched to the full tank of diesel fuel, and so far the fuel indicator hasn't moved off of full. So it's been running at least 12, 16 hours, 14 hours, and hadn't moved off full yet. I got worried about it, went back and banged on the sender to see if that was the problem, but the tank is full. I mean, it was a dull thud when you hit it. So the weather out here is, as you can see, there are no swells at all. I mean, it is just flat. Earlier in the day, it's even been flatter. It looked like a pond. It was so still. I didn't say anything about my coordinates. I'm about 75 miles from the entrance to the Chesapeake Bay. So I should get there probably tomorrow, late evening, something like that, unless the wind picks up and helps me along. So there's the update. Many years ago, I was probably a junior in high school, Mark McCampbell and I came to Virginia Beach for a couple of days. We stayed with my Aunt Janet, who was living here at the time. Gads, that's been eons ago. Well, I was probably 17, so that's too much math for me. Forget that. My goodness, how the place has grown. Just look at all the buildings. And we've got some people flying the parachutes behind the boats. Oh well, things are starting to get interesting. I'm getting ready to have to get into the main channel for the Chesapeake Bay, cross over the tunnel, the Chesapeake Bay Bridge tunnel, and then start heading north up the Chesapeake Bay. I was just joking with my partner. You know, I'd put out an invitation to his family if anybody wanted to sail up the Chesapeake with me. They were more than welcome to. And, he indicated that they're hunkered down right now. Nobody's going. And I told him, you know, despite all my efforts to have somebody go sailing with me, I have sailed over 7,000 nautical miles in this boat. And a nautical mile is bigger than a statute mile. So that's probably 7,500 statute miles or something insane like that. All by myself, because nobody will go with me. I think I'm starting to develop an inferiority complex. I wonder if there's anything to that. Oh well, I guess I just have to face the truth. So, passing by Virginia Beach, these two guys paddled out about a mile to come see the boat. I'll put you on the next episode.
What?
I'll put you on the next episode.
Yeah. Pile back in. Yeah. Let's go.
Here we have the Chesapeake Bay Tunnel Bridge, tunnel, whatever, I don't know what you call it. In any case, Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel. I am getting ready to go over the tunnel. If you look, you can see cars. I'm trying to, going down the hill into the tunnel. So anyway, oops, still zoomed big. Zooms out, zoom out. Okay. So I think most people really consider when you cross the Bay Bridge Tunnel that you have truly entered the Chesapeake Bay. The wind has picked up. It's blowing a good 15 knots, pretty steady. It's peaked to 20 knots. If it keeps this up, it should be a good sail up the bay. I should be up there to where I'm going, which is just north of Baltimore, by tomorrow sometime, which is cool. So we shall see. We shall see. It's good to not be running the engine again. So does this remind anybody of Walmart's parking lot? All these ships are out here on anchor. Kind of like tractor trailers on anchor where they're parking in the Walmart parking lot. I just thought it was kind of funny.
While traveling up the Chesapeake Bay, I had a group of boats pass me, and I thought they were in a race or something. The wind was kind of heavy, and I didn't feel like stressing my mainsail, so I just had the genoa out. And but this boat came fairly close by me. The name of the boat is Sea Dock. I contacted them and sent them a copy of the video. As I approached Annapolis, I ran into another Walmart parking lot of large freighters that were parked. And as I approached the Annapolis Bridge, I got a call from a military vessel saying that they were passing through the bridge and gave me instructions on which side I should pass through. This is the military vessel. I have since been told that it was a cargo ship. Weirdest cargo ship I've ever seen. This is a picture of the Chesapeake Bay Bridge at Annapolis. It a little shaky. And then passing by Baltimore, you could see the lights of the city. The next day, I arrived at the marina and ran into this blue heron and got a visit from Anne Marie, Jeff's daughter, and her fiance, Mike. So that's the end of the trip, and I'll try to get something else posted before too long. So this is David Fansler with Sailing Solo at 70, signing off.